Raiders fans, something interesting is brewing behind the scenes, and you probably haven't heard it like this before. Right after the 2025 NFL draft, a few names started to pop up that no one expected. These aren't your usual suspects. I'm talking about 10 players who weren't even on my first 53-man roster prediction. Yet now, they might just sneak their way in. Let's be clear, these aren't big headlines yet, but they could be. We're going to count down from number 10 to number 1, Charles Snowden. Many fans think he's a lock to make the team, but I left him out of my first 53-man lineup. Why? Well, there's a legal issue hanging over his head, with a court date coming up on July 22nd. And with a new leadership team, John Spytek and Pete Carroll, this stuff matters. They don't want distractions heading into training camp. So I gave the spot to Andre Carter instead. But let's be real, Snowden still has a good shot. Last season, he stepped up when injuries hit the team hard. He finished with 39 tackles and earned a lot of respect in the locker room. Players like him don't go unnoticed. Still, in today's NFL, even one off-field issue can change everything. And maybe, just maybe, the Raiders are watching that July 22nd date very closely, waiting to decide. All right, so Charles Snowden might be the least surprising name on our list, but now let's dive into number 9, and this one's got some mystery around it. Thomas Harper. Not many are talking about him, and that's exactly why you should. Harper plays safety, and the truth is, no one really knows how the Raiders' safety group will look when the dust settles. Will they keep 4 guys? 5? Maybe even 6? That's where Harper sneaks into the conversation. Last season, when he got his chance, Harper quietly impressed. He showed solid coverage skills, the exact thing you want from a free safety. Now, is he a proven starter? Number. But between him and Isaiah Pola-Mao, Harper might have the edge when it comes to playing center field. Let's be honest. The Raiders don't currently have a clear-cut starting-level free safety on the roster. That's a concern. But Harper's tape from last year shows promise. And even though he came in under the old regime, new coaches like Patrick Graham and Pete Carroll might still take notice, especially when they value versatility in the secondary. Don't sleep on Harper. He's not flashy, but he might just be one of the few safeties who can surprise us and crack the 53. Now, on to number 8, Sam Webb. Here's a name that keeps hanging around, and for a reason. Webb has stuck with the Raiders through multiple coaching changes. From McDaniels to Antonio Pierce to Tom Telesco, this guy keeps showing up. And that tells you something. He does things the right way. Now let's break it down. Webb's got size. He's 6 feet 2 inches, about 195 pounds, long and lanky. But here's the catch. He doesn't have elite athleticism. And this new regime, they want speed, explosiveness, and length in their defensive backs. So what gives Webb a shot? The nickel. If he can show that he can play in the slot, not just outside, that's his golden ticket. The outside corner spots are crowded, but the nickel role is still up for grabs. And with a lot of unproven talent in the secondary, Webb has a chance to make his mark. Now I want to hear from you. Who's your sleeper pick for the Raiders this year? Drop a name in the comments. I'll be watching. Maybe your sleeper pick is someone we've already talked about, or maybe it's someone I haven't even mentioned yet. Either way, keep watching because after this quick YouTube ad break, we're diving back in. While the ad runs, scroll down and answer the pinned comment. Who's your Raiders sleeper pick for this season? All right, let's move on to number 7. Chris Smith. He's heading into the final year of his contract, and while he hasn't made a big splash on the field yet, his value might come from something else: leadership. In the locker room, Smith is known as a glue guy. He was a captain at Georgia, where teammates respected the way he carried himself. He's not the most talented player, and maybe he won't be a long-term NFL starter, but if Pete Carroll wants high-effort competitors, Chris Smith checks that box. And let's not forget, the Raiders' safety depth is thin, really thin. That might just give Smith a real shot to stick around. Now let's go to number 6, Zamir White. This one's tricky. On paper, it's hard to justify keeping Zamir, but when he's confident and running hard, he brings some serious aggression. If he looks like the back we saw late in the 2023 season, maybe it makes sense. Yes, it's a totally different system now, but you've got to ask, how much of Zamir's struggles were really his fault. Was it him or the brutal offensive line? Was it poor coaching or just bad play calling? Here's the truth. Zamir White doesn't have great vision. That's a fact. But what happens if Sincere McCormick isn't healthy for week one? Do you trust guys like Dylan Lobb or Chris Collier to carry the load? Lobb has connections, New Hampshire ties, Chip Kelly ties. But even with the addition of Gentry and Raheem Mostert, this team could still carry four running backs. If McCormick isn't 100%, then keeping Zamir might be more about necessity than choice. That said, let's be real. If you're depending on Zamir White to carry the run game, it might be smarter to explore the free agent market instead. All right, now let's get to number 5. Darnell Dodson. This cornerback out of Kansas was one of the bigger surprises to go undrafted. Dodson led the Jayhawks in pick sixes and was a 4-year starter, racking up 49 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups. Sure, Kansas isn't known as a football powerhouse, but that program has made huge strides in the past few years. And Dodson was a big part of that turnaround. That matters. NFL teams look for guys who helped build something, who changed a culture. Dodson fits that mold. He's been through the grind, led by example, and helped turn a losing team into a competitive one. That kind of experience could give him a real edge as the Raiders finalize their 53-man roster. Yes, college ball is a different animal from the NFL. But let me tell you, this quarterback competition is wide open. If Dodson comes into camp and outperforms someone like Jacorian Bennett or Jack Jones, don't be shocked if he makes the roster. Now to number 4, Tyreek Mallister. Is he a running back? A wide receiver? Honestly, I listed him as a running back because I just don't see him making the team as a wideout. But here's why Mallister's interesting. The Raiders love versatility. They drafted Tommy Mellott, a wide receiver quarterback hybrid. They want athletes, guys who can do more than one thing. Mallister has that. He's fast. He could be used as a gadget guy, maybe in the return game, or when you're down a running back or two. And here's a sneaky factor. Mallister has ties to some of the Raiders' special teams coaches. That might give him the edge over someone like Zamir White, who doesn't help on special teams at all. Number 3, Zack Carter, defensive tackle. Last season, he showed flashes on a banged-up defensive line. With Patrick Graham and Rob Leonard still running the defense, and after drafting Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Peggs, there's suddenly a lot of competition. You also brought in Lucky Fotu, adding even more depth. But here's something I heard recently, and I mentioned this on the Raiders report. This could be a year where they keep fewer defensive ends and stockpile versatile DTs instead. Zack Carter had 22 tackles last year. I'm not predicting he makes the 53rd, but all it takes is one injury. And frankly, I'd bet on Carter over Matthew Butler right now. No question about it. Number 2, Jaw Joyner, edge rusher from Minnesota. He's a UDFA, but last year he had 32 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. The numbers speak for themselves. Now here's the most surprising roster candidate, Jaylen Walker, linebacker, another UDFA. He played at Indiana last season and filled the stat sheet. 82 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 picks, and 8 pass breakups. Not bad for a guy flying under the radar, but this isn't just about stats. Last season, the Raiders kept 7 linebackers. Why? Because the room was full of question marks. And it still is. Walker didn't get many chances to cover in college, but when he did, he held up just fine. And with Big Ten football, that says something. If he can show reliable coverage and add value on special teams, he could punch his ticket to the 53-man. Here's the kicker. He transferred from James Madison to Indiana when head coach Curt Cignetti made the move. Coaches often bring their favorite players with them. Cignetti believed in Walker enough to take him to a Big Ten program. That means something. And in a linebacker group full of maybes, Walker's athleticism, versatility, and that coach connection might just get him a spot.